Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day as always. Today I want to talk about creating reality. Now, everybody knows that we create our own reality because I think, therefore I am. Right? And so that's what we do. Okay? And our reality is based on everything that's happened to us and everything that we've done and so on and so forth. Okay? And that's all good and fine and everything, but there is such a thing as reality, which is not what we have in our heads. Okay? And there's a lot of reasons for this, but generally speaking, that's the case. Now, it's possible to have, you know, real reality by awakening. And so that's what I'm all about. So anyway, let's talk about what goes on in our minds. Okay. As you grow up, you see things in a certain way, and you see reality in a certain way. Okay? And as time goes along, slowly everything changes, and you do too. The way you see reality and the way you deal with everything is changing all the time. Okay? But most likely, it's not really real. I told you before that, about illusions and stuff, and what you're experiencing as reality. You think it's reality. We all think it's reality. It's not really reality. Okay? And there's a lot of reasons for this, but basically it's because the fake identity, or the ego, is, in charge. And that means you're in a trap. Okay? Now, how do we escape this trap? By accepting. Okay? Just accepting that things are not as you perceive. Okay? That's all. Things are not as they seem. Okay? Life is different than you think. Okay? You think things, okay? And you think that you're right about those things. Whether those things are matching up with what reality has or is another question. Okay? And what we humans do is we deceive ourselves into believing that what we think is right, regardless of how much other evidence is showing us that we're wrong. It's crazy, isn't it? That's the way it is. Okay? And in this deception that we have of our own selves, okay, which is also orchestrated by the ego, it's a problem, okay? And that's what causes unhappiness. And I'm sure that everyone wants to be happy, everyone wants to have a happy life, but unfortunately, this deception causes us to be unhappy. Now, the way to see through the deception, to see through the illusions, is to know the truth. And the truth is that you are not a person, you're a soul. Now, why do I use the word soul? A soul, we don't even know what a soul is, okay? But what it is what you are. It's a handy way of saying this is what you are, okay? The spark within us that keeps us alive, okay? From birth to death. That is what you are. We think it's this body and the personality that we have, or that we have been told that we have, because all of that is an illusion, okay? Personality is a construct, and so is the person, okay? And that's just the way it is. And it's not, wonderful, but it is what it is. So, what we need to try and understand is that it's a lie, okay? And in order to see through the lie, or the illusion, however you want to look at it, we need to be able to see. And we can't see when we're in this situation, okay, when we're in the situation, we cannot see because the situation is too complex, too difficult, which is why we have to do the practices. We have to meditate and get out of the situation. When we go into the now, we're no longer in any situations. There's just nowness, okay? And contact with the higher power, okay? That's what's in the now, okay? And therefore, you're out of the situation. You're no longer in the situation, okay? And that's when we can look and see that the situation is a lie, okay? You're not a name. I know you think you're a name, but you're not. You're really a soul. That is who and what you are. I know it's hard to realize that, but the way we can start to realize that is by looking at what's going on, which we can do once we're in the now. Okay? I mean, all this stuff is very complex, but that's the way it is. So what we want to try and understand is that we are creating the reality that we're seeing, that we're feeling, and that reality is not matching up with real reality. Okay? And that's causing unhappiness. Because whenever you believe in something, which we do believe in our own realities, okay, that's not true, then there's suffering caused. Suffering for you and for everyone around you. Okay? Look, there's 3 big lies. Or we could call them illusions, or we could call them anything we want. The first one is that you're a person. Okay? The second one is that you have consistency or fixity. That the same person who was born is the same person who dies. Okay? 60, 80, 100 years later. Okay? This is an illusion because it's just not true. I am not the same person I was before I started making this video, and I won't be the same person I am now when I end making the video. Okay, that's just the way it is. Okay? We believe in this lie of consistency. We believe that the person we were when we were a kid is still basically the same person we are today. Okay? And in the future. Okay? That's what the lie is. Okay? And it's a big one. Okay? We are not who we were then. We are not going to be who we are then in the future. That's all there is to it. As long as we believe in this fixity or consistency, then we're going to suffer. Okay? That's all there is to it. All right? Thirdly, the third lie that we have been told is that we're separate. We're not part of the universe. We're not part of the natural world. We're not part of nature. That we're just separate individuals. These are the big 3 lies, okay? And as long as we believe in and identify with these lies, which we do, then we're not going to be able to see what's there, okay? Or feel what's there either, for that matter. So, we got to see past these lies. We got to see past these illusions. And the way to do that is to realize that there's steps. For one thing, you have to see past your own person. Okay? That's the first thing. Okay? See that you're not the one doing the thinking. Just look at what you're thinking. Take a moment and put some awareness into your thoughts and see what is actually going on. Okay? and see that it's not you making the thoughts. It's not you doing the stuff that you're doing, okay? That there's other motivations behind it, okay? And that's all there is to it. So, what we have to do is accept that. I know it's hard to accept, totally difficult to do that, but that's what we have to do. Now, I know it's a hard thing, but all we have to do is just remember the lies. I know it's really hard not to think of yourself as the same person that you were when you were a kid or 18 years old or whatever it was. Okay? I know that's difficult, but it's what is. If we try to live our lives by what isn't, which we do, because by creating models of what we want the universe to be, by creating models of what we want reality to be, okay, then that's what happens. So, try and accept that you are not just a person, that you are the actual spark that is making you alive. We don't know what it is that keeps us alive, okay? But we know it comes from God. Well, we don't know anything really. But those of us who believe in God believe that He's the one that sent that spark down here, which we call a soul. I don't necessarily believe in a heaven, okay, or that God is a physical being that has long white hair and beard and all that. I don't believe in that, no. I believe that there is something called the source from which everything springs, okay? And we return to the source and we come out of the source. That's everything, okay? And you can call that source God, and you can call the spark that makes us live and the spark that makes everything else live a soul. Doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is realizing, seeing through these three big lies. Okay? And what do you get when you see through the lies? Freedom. Okay? You are hemmed in by the person. Okay? You act a certain way because you think that you're a certain way. Okay? Therefore, you have to act that way in order to be you, right? I mean, that's what you think, right? I wish it weren't that way. I wish to God that life could be different, but it's not. We have to accept what life is. And what life is either you grow or you die. That's it. Okay? And in order to grow, we need to overcome the challenges that appear in our lives. Okay? We can run from the challenges. We can push the challenges away. We can fear the challenges and make them into suffering. I know it's terrible, isn't it? But that is what we do. We must face the challenges. Okay? Like the challenge of you. You are not a person. Okay? No matter what you think, I know you think you're right. I'm fine with that. Go ahead and think you're right. But you're not. Because whatever you think you are, it's not you. You are the center. And what is in the center? The awareness, the soul, whatever you want to call it, consciousness itself. That is what the center is. Everything else that's on the extremities, okay, like the body, okay, and the job and the roles that you're playing are just attached to you, okay? and you're attached to them. And in order to get unattached to these things, okay? I mean, fine, roles are just fine and wonderful, but you know what? They bind on you, make you act a certain way, okay? Make you see things a certain way. Okay, how can you have freedom if you're seeing everything in just one way? When freedom means you have to see everything in every way, doesn't it? I mean, if you're going to be free, that's what it is. That you're not bound down to one point of view, right? I mean, I don't know everything, but I do know that, in order to get free of being you, you have to go into the center, which is the source of you-ness. And that source, we can call it a soul, we can call it consciousness, we can call it awareness, we can call it whatever we want. But that is who you are. If as long as you think that that your identity is this periphery, okay, then you're going to suffer. Then you're going to have unhappiness. That's just the way it is. Your identity is the center. Okay? The center of your being. And we tend to think of ourselves as flesh and blood creatures. And so, therefore, we have to live. We have to survive. Okay? The survival of the fittest. Right? That's what we think. But the fact is, it's just another lie. Okay? Yes, survival is important, but now in this age and time, it's not that important. I mean, you can survive pretty easily without, killing a lion. Or anything else, for that matter. Okay? But we still have these survival instincts that are part of us. And they're part of the fake identity. It uses them to control you. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. You can say, oh, you're wrong. I'm not being controlled. I'm completely in charge of myself, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. You can think that for the rest of your life if you want. Okay? But the fact is, your actions are controlled by who you think you are. That's it. Okay? If you think that's not true, then just look at yourself. Look at what you have been raised to be. Okay? That's what you were. You were raised, right? Just like everyone else. And in that raising, you had influences that shaped you into the type of person that you are, right? And those influences have changed how you see the world, how you see reality. That's just the way it is. Everyone has a different view on the world. Everyone has a different perspective. Everyone is unique, okay? Because of the very thing that was used to raise you, the very mores of the day during your childhood. Okay, all that stuff is part of you now because you made it part of you. Okay, I mean, obviously, this is hard to take. Perhaps, maybe it's difficult to see that this is so, but it's what is, and we have to accept what is. You were raised in a Christian community or Muslim community or a Buddhist community or whatever community you were raised in. So that's how you see the world. Also, you were raised in a capitalist society. And that's how you see the world too, because you were forced, okay? I remember the day my dad took me down to some banquet hall. I was 15 years old. He said, okay, you're going to work here from now on, from 3 to 5. And I did. What else was I going to do? Okay, and you had the same experience, or perhaps you decided at some point, I want to have a job, I want to have money, whatever it is. Okay? But nonetheless, that isn't you. And you think it is. You think you're the bartender, or you're the waitress, or you're the whatever. Okay? It's just a role you're playing. That's all. And it doesn't define you. If we let these things define us, okay, which we do, okay, then we are going to suffer. Which is why it's so great to have freedom, because there's no definitions in freedom. Okay? Which means you can be free to be whatever you want, regardless of anything else. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so, in order to get to there, in order to get to that freedom, we need to accept that things are the way they are. Not that they're different. We want them to be different, but we have to accept them as they are. Okay? Simple as that. And once we do that, then we can start accepting things about ourselves. Like who we really are. Okay? Are you the kid that went to college? Or high school? Or grade school? Are you? Are you that kid? No. You're not. It's not you. Okay? Just like tomorrow won't be you too. Because every day we change. Every day thousands of atoms are leaving our body, and every day thousands of atoms are coming into our body, replacing atoms that have to leave. So it's not you. This body is not you. It cannot be you because it is constantly changing, regardless of whether or not you think you believe in this illusion of consistency. Okay? It's just not true. I know it's hard to see that this may be so. Okay? I get that. But and I'm not saying you have to take my word or anything else, okay? But just think about it. Think about how it can be so, okay? Every day you are changing, okay? Because change is inevitable. Change is part of life. And that change, depending on how much you resist it, is making you into a different person. You're not the same person you were when you were 20. You're not the same person when you were 40. We have memories of that time, and so we think that's who I was. That's who I am. Okay? But it's not you. I know that's hard to try and understand or see, but once you do understand that, then the past will not have quite as much of a hold on you. And it's got a pretty severe hold on you right now. Because you think you are from the past. Everything that happened to you in the past has made you who you are today. Therefore, you are the past. The history. You are the history. Okay? Which just isn't true. Okay? I'm sorry. You are the immortal, unlimited soul. That is who you are. That is the center of your being. Okay, just imagine this. Imagine there is a lake, a perfectly round lake. And around that is the forest and hills and eventually mountains. But the lake is the special part. The lake is the part that makes it what it is. Okay? All the stuff on the periphery of the lake is really nice and beautiful and wonderful, but the lake is where the action is at. Everybody's got a house around this perfectly beautiful lake, and people go swimming, and that's where the action's at. People come from hundreds of miles away to see this lake. Okay? It's special. Alright? And this center of your being is special. It's what you are. And if you think that you're not, if you think you're the trees and the mountains of the lake, okay, then you're missing out on what is. What is that you are the center. Okay? The center of your being is who you are. And your personality and things you like, don't like, and all that stuff is just on the periphery. Your body is on the periphery. Okay? That's the way it is. And it doesn't matter. Yes, it's important to keep your body in good shape. Yes, it's important to not abuse the body and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not saying that's true. What I am saying is that you need to accept that what's important in you is the center. Okay? Which is not a physical thing. It's not the body. It's not the brain. It's not anything that's physical. Because it exists partially in the formless dimension and partially in this dimension, the form dimension. Okay? And that's all there is to it. Okay? I don't know anything more about it than that beyond the fact that I know it exists because I've felt it. And you have felt it too. Okay? And that is who you are. As long as you think that you're everything that's around the center, you're going to have unhappiness because it's not true. Now, we can call the center the soul. Okay? If you don't like religious stuff, it's the awareness, the consciousness. Okay? But whatever we call it doesn't really matter. What matters is being in contact with the consciousness, being in contact with the soul. I don't know if you've ever heard of self-realization, which is what they call awakening sometimes. Realizing that you are the self, the real self, which of course Buddha says doesn't exist, but let's not get into that. Anyway, you are the soul, which is your real self. And you need to realize that that is who you are. As long as you keep thinking that you're this person, okay, and believing that you are the same person when you were 10 years old as you are now, okay, believing that you are the same person when you were 20, believing you're the same person when you were 30, okay, is not going to get you anywhere. Okay? You want freedom. And you have to let this sameness, this consistency, this fixity go. It wasn't you. You didn't make the decisions because it wasn't you. Because you are the soul. And even the decisions that are being made now probably isn't you either, because the ego is still probably running the show. If you're on the spiritual path, which I hope you are, then slowly you're beginning to feel some freedom as you meditate or go into your body. And hopefully start accepting what is. I know it's hard to do that, but it's worth it, because that is how you can awaken. I know it's hard, but it has to be done if you want freedom. And freedom feels really, really good. And if you're starting to feel some of that freedom, you know that. Well, I guess the clock on the wall is telling me that it's about time this video is over. I love you all because you're me. You're part of me. There is no part of me okay, that is different from any other part of me. It's all God. Okay? That's it. So understand, you need to see through the lie of separation. You need to see through the lie of the person. You need to see through the lie of the consistency. That is what must be done in order to start to awaken. Once we see through these lies, once we accept that that is the truth, the unvarnished truth, then the awakening begins. It's already beginning, and that, for that matter, I mean, whether or not you actually do anything, like inner, inspection or whatever you want to call it, looking at yourself, you're gonna awaken. It might happen on your deathbed, but it'll happen because you have to let go of everything on your deathbed. Okay? And so that's a way that you can wake up. But it's not gonna make your life any better. But you can wake up now simply by accepting that these three lies are lies. Okay? Well, I guess I gotta let you go. Please comment if you can. I love to hear your comments, and question me. Question what I'm saying. If anything I'm saying isn't ringing true to you, then question me, and I'll make a video about it, and I'll respond in the comments as always. I'm just trying to be helpful to you, that's all. And unless I get some questions, I can't do that. So please, question me. All right. Have a great day and a great life.